Children, let me continue a new lesson. In the previous classes, what you have seen, structural organization of animals. So we have seen. Then we have to say what are the organ systems you have seen in that lesson. Now we have to say what is transportation in plants and transportation in animals. So plants and animals, they have different things we know. Plants from the lower classes you would have studied. Plants can move, animals cannot move. Plant cell is different from animal cell, so on. So transportation means how the minerals and the water carried over from root to the all parts of the plant. That is transportation. But whereas in the animals, they cannot transport because animals are in moving. So it has to be changed in some other way. So that is known as what? Circulation of animals. Within the body changes occur, that is known as circulation of animals. The plants, you know, there are two cells we have studied already, xylem and phloem. So xylem, they are present in vascular bundles. I said in the previous classes, the vascular bundles we can see xylem and phloem. So we have the circulatory system, we have blood vessels, arteries, veins, capillaries, etc. But in the plants, instead of circulatory system, what is the vascular bundles? So in the vascular bundles we can see xylem and phloem. Xylem conducting water. It conducts water from the root to the other part of the plant. Phloem, it conducts minerals, that is the food. What all the minerals present in the soil, they were absorbed by the root, and through the root it goes to the xylem and phloem you can see in all the parts of the plant, that you can see in the stem, root and leaves. So they are transported from, even though whatever the height may be, that water and minerals reaches to the top of the plant because of xylem and phloem which are present in that. Now we have to see what are the transportation methods in the plants. So living things are made up of cells, I said already. If it is made up of only one cell, unicellular, many cell, multicellular. One cell means what I said, unicellular, many cells, multicellular. Cell is the basic unit of living things. So within the cell, that is, within the cell, the food materials are circulated, that is known as translocation. Within the cell, I said. For example, from the A cell, the minerals are transported within the A cell, that is translocation. In the same plant, from the A cell, it goes to B cell, that is known as what? Transportation. So what are the organs help in transportation? I said already, xylem and phloem, that can be seen all over the parts plant. So there are three ways of transportation. What are the ways we'll see now? One is diffusion. Other one is active transport. And the third one is osmosis. In the osmosis, there are two, that is plasmolysis and imbibition. Let us see one by one. Diffusion. So solid, liquid, gas, mostly liquid and gases. So they have to diffuse. Diffuse means what I said in the beginning, I said diffuse means abdi paravarada. For example, if you pour water on the ground, it will flow. We cannot say it runs, it flows. That is known as what? Diffuses. So like that, the food materials or water, whatever it may be, they diffuse through the root air. From the root air, diffusion, that is, for example, this is the root. We can say like this. This is the primary root. That is the root which begins at first. That is known as what? Primary root. From the primary root, we got the root hairs. This is what root has. And here root hairs, they may not, because root hairs are very important. They supply the water and food materials to the other parts of the plant. So they should be protected by root cap. These roots absorb the water minerals and they diffuse the minerals and water to the other parts of the plant. That is known as what? Diffusion. Here energy is not considered. Here active transport I said, this is also same like the diffusion method only, but here energy is considered in this. This is within the cell, this is out of the cell. In and out of the cell, the water and food particles transport from one place to another place. That is known as what? Active transport. Here energy is taken, here energy is not measured. So that's the difference between diffusion and active transport. So diffusion, energy is measured. The active transport, energy is not measured. Osmosis. So whatever it may be, the diffusion or active transport, whatever it may be, it is from the lower region to the higher region. From lower region to higher region, that is from the root to the other parts. Root வந்து ரொம்ப லோவாக இருக்கும். ஸோ அங்கேருந்து ஒரு பார்ட்டுக்காக ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் ஆகுது லோயர் ரீஜியன் டு த ஹையர் ரீஜியன். Osmosis, the same like only. Osmosis, it is the transport of water and minerals from the lower concentration to the higher concentration. This is known as what? Osmosis. But here there is a semi-permeable membrane. There is a membrane, that is how the filter, எப்படி ஃபில்டர் வந்து உங்களுக்கு யூஸ் ஆகி என்ன திங்ஸ்லாம் வேணுமோ அது மட்டும் மேலே அனுப்பும், மற்றதெல்லாம் ஃபில்டர் பண்ணிவிடும். The same like here, osmosis is separated by semi-permeable membrane. By using the semi-permeable membrane, you would have studied the lower classes, some example for that also. By using thistlefunnel, we can do an experiment in 7th and 8th and osmosis, it is semi-permeable membrane. As soon as the school reopens, we have to go for experiment of everything. So we got all the things in the lab, it should be demonstrated. Osmosis, what is it? Semi-permeable membrane. So by using semi-permeable membrane, water and minerals, they are moved from the lower region to higher region. Not directly, they are using semi-permeable membrane, that is known as osmosis. In the osmosis, that is two kinds of osmosis, that is including that in that category only it is plasmolysis and imbibition. What is plasmolysis? Suppose you have taken a cell. You know, cell is the structure, basic unit of living thing. Cell you have taken, the cell is fully filled with water and that cell is placed in the hypertonic solution. Any other solution apart from water, hypertonic solution, you keep the cell on the hypertonic solution. As soon as you keep the cell into the hypertonic solution, it loses its water. அதுக்கு முன்னாடி நல்ல ரிஜிடாக இருந்த அந்த செல் என்ன ஆகும், அந்த ஹைப்பர்டோனிக் சொல்யூஷன் நீங்கள் வைக்கும்போது இட் லூசஸ் இட்ஸ் இன்டேக் ஆஃப் கெப்பாசிட்டி ஆஃப் வாட்டர் அண்ட் பிகம் ஷிங்ஸ். முன்னாடி நல்ல பல்ஜாக இருந்தது, நீங்கள் ஹைப்பர்டோனிக் சொல்யூஷனில் வைக்கும்போது அதனோட வாட்டர் மாலிகுல்ஸ்லாம் வாட்டர்லாம் அதில் வந்து எக்ஸ்பெல் ஆகிட்டு சுருங்கிடும். அதுக்கு என்ன சொல்வீங்க? பிளாஸ்மோலிசிஸ். ஸோ இம்பிபேஷன் இட்ஸ் குவைட் ஆப்போசிட் டு தட். ஸோ பிளாஸ்மோலிசிஸில் என்ன பார்க்குறோம், ரொம்ப டர்கிடாக இருந்த ஒரு செல்லு when it is taken out of the water and kept in the hypertonic solution, it loses its capacity of retaining water. இந்த வாட்டர் அதால் திரும்ப எடுத்துக்க முடியாது, அப்படின்னா ஆகிடும், உங்களுக்கு சுருங்கி போயிடும். அதை நம்ம பிளாஸ்மோலிசிஸ் சொல்கிறோம். இம்பிபிஷன் நாட் லைக் தட். வாட் எவர் த திங் மே பி, எய்தர் இட் இஸ் அ சீட் ஆர் வாட் எவர் இட் மே பி, இஃப் யூ சோக் இன் டு த வாட்டர், அதாவது நல்ல ஸ்ட்ரிங்கான ஒரு சீடு இல்லை ஏதோ ஒரு இதை நீங்கள் வந்து வாட்டருக்குள்ளே போட்டிங்கன்னா இட் இம்பைப்ஸ், இட் அப்சார்ப்ஸ் த வாட்டர் அண்ட் பிகம்ஸ் வேலன். ஸோ தட் இஸ் ஒன் இஸ் வாட்? இம்பிபிஷன். ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் கிரேப்ஸ், ட்ரை கிரேப்ஸ், அந்த உலர்ந்த திராட்சைன்னு சொல்கிறாங்க பாருங்கள், அது வந்து ஷிங்காக இதாக இருக்கும். அதையே நீங்கள் வாட்டரில் போட்டு ஒரு 2 hours 3 hours அப்புறம் பார்க்க போனீங்கன்னா இட் சேஞ்சஸ் இட்ஸ் ஷேப். தட் இஸ் known as what? That how does the shape change? Because of water absorbing. அந்த கிரேப்ஸ் என்ன ஆயிருக்கும் உங்களுக்கு, அந்த சீட், we say that on as scientific term we have to say that is seed. அந்த கிரேப் சீட் நீங்கள் போடும்போது வாட்டரில் அது என்ன பண்ணுது, உங்களுக்கு அதை அப்சார்ப் பண்ணி it becomes bulged. This is known as imbibition. So first I said translocation. What is translocation means? Within the cell, that is food and water minerals. Food is what? Nothing else, carbohydrate. Then water, minerals, everything transported from the xylem and phloem vessels to all parts of the plant. That is known as what? Transportation, translocation. This process occurs within the cell, that is translocation. Okay. If it is out of the cell, that is cell to cell, other cell, from the A cell to B cell, C cell, like that. So that is known as what? Transportation. Here, what are the organs cell for translocation or transportation means? It's nothing else, xylem and phloem. Xylem is conducting water and phloem is conducting minerals. By using this only, plants can produce the carbohydrate. The carbohydrate is stored in the plant parts. Cell is the basic unit, I said. The transportation may be in the three ways, that is diffusion, active transport. Diffusion is otherwise known as passive transport also. Here, either whatever it may be, either solid molecules or liquid molecules, they diffused into the thing. Diffused means, I said, paravarada, through the root it is diffused and reached to the top of the other parts of the plant. Active transport, here energy is measured. The both are same only. Osmosis, that is from the thing, food and minerals, they transport from the lower region to higher region by using a semi-permeable membrane. So, semi-permeable membrane filter like it is, it's filtered, what all the things to be filtered, it's removed away. Plasmolysis, I said, when the bulged seed or whatever it may be, is placed on the hypertonic solution, it loses its intake capacity of water. Adu the water veliyellam poita adu enna adum ungalku suringidum. The shrinking condition is known as plasmolysis. Imbibition is quite opposite to plasmolysis. That is, the same seed, whatever it may be, you soak into the water, it absorbs the water and imbibed na nalla bulge aayirukku. That is known as what? Imbibition. Is it clear for you? What are the root organs, root and all I said? Further, it transport into two ways. What are the two ways? We'll see now. The transportation in the plants carried over by two ways. Transportation in two ways it is. One is apoplast, other one is symplast. Here, water, the apoplast, water occurs in the intercellular spaces. That is water and minerals, cell to cell. Intercellular space means, for example, this is the cell. The cell is arranged by xylem, parenchymatous tissue. The space is there. No, this is intercellular spaces. So, that water or minerals, whatever it may be, they occurred within the cell, that intercellular spaces. They are not crossing the cellular membrane. So, what are the 2 points I said? Apoplast, the same water and minerals, they imbibe within the cell. Intercellular space and the cell space travel apoplast. They are not crossing over the cell membrane. Over cell or membrane. Cell is covered by a protective layer. The plant la cell wall animals la cell membrane. So they are not crossing the cell membrane. This is apoplast pathway. Then symplast is, this is not within the cell, this is adjacent cell. Adjacent means what? பக்கத்தில் இருக்க செல்ஸ் அந்த ஒரு செல்லோடு போகாமல் இது வந்து ஒரு செல்லுக்குள்ளே இடையில இருக்க அந்த ஸ்பேஸ்க்குள்ளே மட்டும்தான் நடக்கும் எப்போபிளாஸ்ட். பட் சிம்பிளாஸ்ட் இஸ் நாட் லைக் தட். இட் ஃபங்க்ஷன்ஸ் adjacent cells. And it is not crossing the cell membrane, I said, it is crossing the cell membrane. But this action is very slow. The action is slow, this action is fast. So we can say what are the differences between apoplast and symplast. Both are the way of active transport of plants. So in the apoplast, it occurs within intercellular space. It occurs in the adjacent cell. It is not crossing the cell membrane because it is intercellular. This is crossing the cell membrane. Here it occurs in cytoplasm in all the places. This cellular space. This is fast movement, this is slow movement. These are the differences between transportation. Two kinds of transportation I said. One is apoplast, other one is symplast. Next one we have to say transpiration. So far we have seen what is transportation in plants. So circulation animals we have to go to the other chapter. Transportation. Next to transportation we have to say what is transpiration. What is transpiration? Excess of water in the plants is expelled through the leaf surface. அதாவது அளவுக்கு அதிகமாக வாட்டர் சேர்ந்துட்டு இருந்தால் பிளான்ட்ஸில், ஸோ இன் ப்ரெசன்ஸ் ஆஃப் சன்லைட் த டிரான்ஸ்பிரேஷன் வில் அக்கர். அது என்ன பண்ணுன்னா எக்ஸ்ட்ராவாக இருக்க வாட்டர்லாம் எவாபரேட் ஆகி போயிட்டே இருக்கும். The same water remains in the plant may decomposed. So to avoid the decomposition, what's happening there? Transpiration, this is occurs in nature. So whenever the water excess, it will be going on, there is no time for that, it will be going on doing transpiration is. That is excess of water released out to the atmosphere and making the leaf surface cool, that is known as transpiration. We can find out by an experiment also, it's given in page number 202. Okay, yeah. Here that is excess of water expelled out. What is transpiration? I said excess of water evaporated. That is known as what? Transpiration. This transpiration mainly occurs by stomata. What is stomata? It is the cell. It is the God cell. Stomata is a small opening. Stomata is a small opening like this. Okay, yeah. It is covered by God cells. This is stomata. This one is what I said, God cell. So inter organs are always protected by some other layers. Here God cells are there to protect the stomata. The stomata you can see in the leaf surfaces. Leaf mostly எங்கே பார்க்கலாம், பிளான்ட்டில் இருந்தால் கூட அது கம்மியாக தான் இருக்கும். But you can see the more numbers stomata you can see in the leaf surface only, because leaf is very important part. The transpiration, food production எல்லாத்துக்குமே இது உங்களுக்கு நிறைய யூஸ் ஆகும் leaf only, because chlorophyll present in that. And stomata also more number they are present in the leaf only. So this function is carried over through transpiration is carried over through leaf only. So this stomata, they are God cell. When excess water is collected in the thing, it stores in the stomata. So when the time comes out, the God cells close the strings and it releases the water out. This is known as what? Transpiration. Stomata plays an important role in transpiration of water. This is the God cells. So stomata, more number of stomata can be seen in the thing. You can see the experiment in page number 1446. You have to take one potted plant. What you have to take? Potted plant. Potted plant means அந்த தொட்டியில் இருக்கிற ஒரு செடி எடுக்கிறீங்க. So you have to cover the plant. You have to keep in the sunlight only. Expose பண்ணுறோம் வெளியில். But it will be covered with the plastic cover. And you have to keep the apparatus as it is. So what you have to take? You have to take the potted plant with the leaves. You have to cover the leaves with the, you have to cover the twigs. சின்ன சின்ன குட்டி குட்டி இதுவாக இருக்கும் பாருங்கள். அது என்ன பண்ணுறீங்க? கவர் பண்ணி வைக்கணும். So after 2 or 3 hours or next day morning you have seen means you have closed. Before closing there should be no droplet of water. அது எதுவுமே இல்லை. அதுக்கப்புறம் நீங்கள் பார்க்கும்போது என்ன ஆகுதுன்னு சொன்னால், you can see the droplets of water in the cover, the plastic cover. This is because of transpiration. So this is because of transpiration. Okay, children, did you understand? Or else let me continue afterwards.